It is 3 o'clock. This is Queen City News Plus Live, coming to you on a Wednesday from the Blue Room. As you can see here, this is, I'm Derek Denlinger, by the way, alongside anchor Brian Blakely. Meteorologist Braden Lawson, we're going to be hearing more from him actually coming up in the next
The man of the hour.
Yes, because we got a storm on the way. We also have producer-director on Austin McCollum here as well. Yeah, it's going to be a day. We do have some headlines to get to you as well, and some breaking news coming up in the last little bit. The Hill reporting here. President Trump says he has reached a framework of a deal with NATO on the future of Greenland and will not impose tariffs that he previously threatened on other European countries. This goes to the back and forth that's been happening, frankly, over the last several days, and for that matter, the last couple of weeks, about President Trump's assertions that he does want something from Europe, and he does want to acquire, at least in one way, shape, or form, Greenland, which is right now under the control of Denmark. It's an island basically off the coast of North America.
Yeah, and this is all ramped up in just the last couple of weeks about what Greenland's been. There's a lot of it from the harsh rhetoric that President Trump has said in his wanting to acquire Greenland from Denmark. And he spoke at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland earlier this morning for over an hour. The biggest thing that was coming out of that headline was that we did not use military force to get Greenland. Yes. It comes out of much criticism from NATO allies. Yeah. And then he's worked out some sort of negotiations that he's had with Greenland or with Denmark to whatever that is right now. We're going to find out the details of that regarding Greenland.
Yeah, this is a developing story that's happened just in the past about half hour or so. But we should mention that none of the reporting that we've seen so far involves a deal of the U.S. actually acquiring Greenland. It requires it's basically a bit more of a security solution that's going to be for not only Greenland but apparently for the Arctic region. This is according to President Trump's post on Truth Social about this. The tariffs right now are also off the table on this, but this goes to the back and forth that's kind of been there, and the pushback that has come from European leaders basically saying, hey, you can't do this without the support of the people in Greenland. People in Greenland are basically saying they don't want this. Even though President Trump is saying, hey, this island is a part of North America, it is our territory, his words, not mine. So we could be getting some details on this over the next couple of hours. And we'll probably have an update on this tomorrow as well. But as we get it, we will pass that along.
And also it's been quite a bit of pushback also from congressional leaders like North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis, who went to Greenland to talk with the officials with Denmark and the officials there. And Tillis has been a very outspoken critic, knowing that he's not going to be going up for re-election coming up at 26 in the midterms. But also the reaction's been swift, like from the Chinese officials regarding this whole the Greenland talk. Chinese officials said today that they need to stop using the Chinese national security crutch that Trump likes to do just for his own self-interest and self-gain. So the details of what these negotiations are worked out, that's going to be really key about what is going on here, about what really is behind the whole wanting to having acquired Greenland for the United States.
Yeah, and it's been said that this was a Russian and also a Chinese security issue, even though they didn't necessarily speak much to the Russian security issue, but China was also always seen as kind of a security issue with Greenland. However, people in Greenland and also foreign policy experts, it's like, hey, the exposure that China has to Greenland is very minimal, at least according to them, at this point. So the fact that there would be like any takeover any way, shape, and form from anybody is kind of a surprise to anybody. But again, as we get those updates on what this framework deal is, we will pass that along. Here in the United States, though, we do have some SCOTUS action. The Supreme Court, they were hearing arguments today about Fed Governor Lisa Cook. You might remember that she's the one that the President Trump and Trump administration has been trying to fire, and she's been basically firing back at that, basically saying, hey, you can't do that. This went all the way up to the Supreme Court. There were some arguments today, and it looks like, at least according to the tea leaves that are being written here, at least right now, that the Supreme Court may be inclined to keep her on the Fed.
Yeah, that's from a lot of the stuff that we're getting out of the court as far as the reporting goes. The justices heard the arguments today. Specifically, Justice Brett Kavanaugh was very critical of what the Justice Department is wanting here regarding taking over or allowing that firing of Lisa Cook. And really it's Trump's bid to wrest control of the Federal Reserve, which has long been known as the independent agency. And so Kavanaugh went as far as to saying this would weaken, if not shatter, the independence of the Federal Reserve. And he's one of the 3 Trump appointees on the nation's highest court. At least 5 other justices today of the 9 member court also sounded very skeptical about the effort to remove her from office, and both Cook and Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. They've sat in the courtroom today to hear the hours of arguments throughout this. And of course, the issue really is, President Trump is really at odds with Jerome Powell. He wants those interest rates to be reduced. They're currently sitting at about 3.64%. And economists say that's just not really a good idea.
Yeah, Lisa Cook, by the way, with the Trump administration, or President Trump more specifically, has been trying to fire her over these allegations of apparent mortgage fraud. These are charges that she denies, and it's basically say, hey, while this is going through the court system, she's not being basically told she did anything wrong. It's these allegations that have been coming out, and that was basically used as a basis for potentially getting rid of her. But again, this is something that she has fought back, and again, charges that she denies very specifically.
Hey, good story that we're following around here, Derek, too. Yeah. And that is of some video that has surfaced here out at Iredell Statesville Schools and the Board of Education, where a couple of members had to be separated during an altercation where the chairman was being interrupted. They adjourned the meeting because of these repeated interruptions. And then there's video surfaced here. Let's go ahead and play this video here, and you can listen to some of the interactions.
You guys are a huge problem for this community. The way you conduct your business, I don't care if you talk about it on the record or off the record.
Well, you're off to a fine start.
I don't give a what you think, Mike.
Then walk and don't come back. Walk and don't come back.
You're lucky I don't wear your out, because that's what you did.
Hey, you want something? You want a piece of this?
Yeah, what you gonna do, old man?
Yeah, come on. Bring it on.
Hey, we're bigger than this. God, this is what...
I could kill you right now.
He could kill you right now. Okay?
Y'all figure it out, right?
Sorry.
I'm somebody, because I ain't the woman.
Stop.
Good. Don't let the door hit you.
That's enough. That's enough.
You were this close to getting your head ripped off.
Kevin, stop. Kevin, go ahead.
So yeah, this is from the Iredell Statesville School Board meeting. As you can see, things, shall we say, were not necessarily all cordial and civil there. And this apparent back and forth basically led to almost a fight there. The Queen City News did obtain the video and are getting more specifics on this. So reporter Jen Cardone working on a story for Queen City News starting at 4. What gets me, though, is that this is not the first time that we've heard about these fisticuffs and possible fighting. Some, shall we say, intense arguing happening at public meetings. This is just the latest one. And as you can see, this one happened quite literally last week.
Tensions boiling over for sure. And this is really, from what we understand from local reports there and from Jen, who's on the scene today doing this story, that they flared because the chairman there, Kevin Angel, was discussing board procedures, his expectations for board members. He was constantly being interrupted during during these things, and so they just ended the meeting, pulled the ripcord and everything, and that's when everything exploded, as you just saw right there, with the other person who was at the corner of the dais there, of that bench, that was Mike Kubinich, was another one. So they're trying to put that bomb back together. So at
as you can see, there was that other board member that came around, and it was basically trying to break up whatever fisticuffs may have been on the verge of happening. And as you can tell from some of the vocal back and forth, it could have gotten to that point. So we'll have more details on this. Also, a bit more of a breakdown as exactly what's going on coming up on Queen City News at 4. Jen Cardone working on that story. Delta, this is in regards to the weather that we are likely going to be seeing. They are actually offering a little bit of help for customers as they try to get back home with a little bit of help if they have to cancel, offering some flexibility on bookings that they might have, just in an effort to make sure they either get home or they can get home after the storm.
Yeah, and this is a big storm that we've been talking about for a few days, and this is a lot of people have to prepare for this, and airlines certainly are going to be one of those, because this is a storm that's going to affect pretty much all of the southeast and east coast because of the nature of whether it's going to be ice, rain, freezing rain, sleet, or snow. Yeah. And we've seen a lot of people that they're trying to do their planning ahead of time. Well, obviously, a lot of people around in Charlotte are doing their planning as far as the DOT with the roads and what they're going to do. And then the airlines, of course, and American Airlines is going to be doing a lot of the same when it comes to flights, being a hub out of Charlotte because of the snowstorm. Yes. And it's expected to start around 2 a.m. Saturday or something like that. Brandon's going to tell us here in a little bit. That's according to the National Weather Service. It'll start on Friday. But, a lot of folks, it's also had a different track here, Derek. And what we saw from a couple weeks ago that we're kind of worried about, the nature of these things are so minute as far as where they shift. with the big rainstorm or thunderstorm that we're going to have for the Panthers and Rams game. You just got to wait and see about each little latest information that does come out.
Latest models, latest information. Things can change at a moment's notice, and it's worth noting to that. As far as the Delta offering that little help, they are offering basically. For lack of better words, they can change their travel with no fees. Normally, that does require a fee. Delta is just doing this right now. We're still waiting to hear back from American, since American has the big hub here in Charlotte.
And Delta, I've learned Derek, they're really good about when you text them in their little emergency, they'll get right back to you right away instead of just like we normally want to do. Let's go stand in line in customer service and wait for 3 hours to find out exactly what we're going to do.
But it's all the more reason to keep an eye on the forecast. And that's quite frankly what a lot of people are doing right now, because they want to pay attention to what exactly is going on and what they're going to be seeing, what they need to get from the grocery store actually before everything kind of gets out. You know the whole bread and milk run that pretty much everybody does whenever it starts to rain. Not rain, but snow here in the South.
Got to buy bread and milk, right?
Bread and milk. Might help to actually get some sweets, and then while you're at it too, maybe some Little Debbie's. Who knows? Just the stuff that's going to to keep you comfortable at least for a couple of days,
buying, right?
Hey, Nutty Bars are all fantastic.
Nutty Bars,
It's
going to be a good bottle of red.
Yeah. You need to be prepared yourself for a good time. We made a point of going by a couple of grocery stores, some hardware stores. As of yet, we do not see the big rush to get the rock salt yet. Or the milk yet, bread yet. We don't see that yet. We're hearing about it off and on in some spots, but for the most part, you can still find some stuff in Charlotte.
I mean, I'm going tonight to go stock up tonight.
Well, you know that's going to happen because this is what always happens. An interesting story here. AccuWeather reports the idea of buying bread and milk before a winter storm. It dates back to the Great Blizzard of 1978, in which New England got hit, and people were trapped in their homes. And then they were unable for days to go out and buy those staple products. That's how it kind of all started. But it's reported by weather experts and people and like government experts to say that's not really what you should be buying. It should be like Nutty Bars over there. It should be like a good bottle of Pinot.
Yeah, bread milk should be it's basically the last thing.
They're perishables.
It's basically the last thing I eat.
The thing that gets me with milk is that the power goes out, it's going to go spoiled anyway. I mean, unless you hold the
refrigerator.
the
perishables, right, Brandon?
Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah, let's bring in Brandon, by the way. Yeah, as you can see right there, winter storm is on the way this weekend, and the timing on this is going to be kind of a factor. And what is the timing saying so far as far as what exactly we will see and when?
So at some point Saturday, likely in the first half of the day on Saturday, we'll start to see the storm move in. That's either going to start as snow or it's going to start as a wintry mix. Regardless, that's when we'll start to see the conditions outdoors deteriorate, again, during the first half of the day on Saturday. And then that will continue through Saturday night, through Sunday, and then by Sunday night, everything starts to settle down. So pretty much the entire weekend, with the exception of maybe the sun coming up on Saturday, we're going to be dealing with this winter storm. And really the latest over the last couple of hours is that we do have more winter storm watches for our region. So the winter storm watch now includes the entire Queen City News viewing area. This is including the mountains, the foothills, and also all the way down towards the upstate and sand hills. That is the winter storm watch. Now, this winter storm watch includes the entire Queen City News viewing area from Saturday morning through Monday morning. But look at how big this watch is. All the way up into West Virginia, the Roanoke Valley in Virginia, as you're getting towards Tennessee. We're talking about entire states, guys. Kentucky, Tennessee, all under winter storm watches here. As you're getting further west towards the Alabama, Louisiana, even down towards Texas. I mean, we're talking about Dallas, Waco, all the way over towards Lubbock. I mean, these are, again, this is a pretty widespread event that's going to be taking place here as we go into the weekend. That's why we have issued pinpoint weather alerts for the weekend. We issued these yesterday for Saturday and Sunday. It's because the winter storm is headed our way. That includes the chance for not just snowfall, sleet, and ice. And that's the thing. That's the trend. Brian was just mentioning that a few minutes ago, talking about the different trends when it comes to weather models. And we're now trending towards more of a sleet and ice event versus snowfall. And also the impacts is something else we're also worried about because, we're going to see impacts this weekend, but sub-freezing temperatures are going to be lingering with us in the early next week, which means that could delay recovery, and that could also delay some of the melting that happens with the sleet, freezing rain, and snow that does fall. So to be determined. We should have a better idea on this tomorrow. how much snow is going to fall, how much ice is going to fall, and then the timing of the precipitation types themselves. When we'll see that transition to a wintry mix, when the snow will begin. That's all some of the things that we'll have a better idea on tomorrow. So we'll keep updating the forecast here throughout the week. But I think tomorrow and Friday, guys, we'll start having a little bit more details on what to expect this week.
So there is the whole stereotype that Charlotte, it never snows in Charlotte. The chances of that actually happening, it is happening this time.
It's happening again.
I tell you what, I know.
Last time was a few years ago, and we've had some snow even since then.
2021.
Well, in fact, we had a little bit of a couple months ago.
I had like a graphic, but it's been 1,460 days, 4 years since we've seen 1 inch or more snow.
But I think
I remember that.
Yeah, important of our coverage area too, because we go from the sandhills to the Piedmont all the way up to the mountains. It's different everywhere.
Yeah, each location's going to have.
We're going to rely on you, Brandon.
Coming up, let's see. If you're a Netflix user, you probably have gotten a bit of a graphic redesign lately. Well, apparently, there is another one coming. Yeah, we'll tell you about that, especially that might annoy you just a little bit, or maybe not, depending on how you use it. This is Queen City News Plus Live. That story coming up.
3:17 on a Wednesday afternoon here on Queen City News Plus Live as you look outside here at a beautiful skyline if you're in Queen City. But come later this weekend on Friday, it's going to be a whole lot different as we are expecting that big winter snowstorm, Derek, that's coming along. And meteorologist Brandon Lawson is going to have a lot more details and exactly what's going to happen, where and when, and how things could change and what on this snowstorm coming up in just a little bit. Derek, let's talk a little bit about first Nathan's Hot Dogs.
Yes.
They got a big deal that just struck here.
Yes, a $450 million deal. They are being bought up by what is Smithfield Foods. Now, Smithfield Foods, they already actually make the Nathan's hot dogs that you actually get in the stores, not necessarily the ones you actually see.
Rights to produce and sell them already, but now they really own them.
Yes, they are basically all just buying it outright. The Nathan's name has been around since 1916. They still actually have the little restaurant booth kiosk thing, I think, at the Charlotte outlets.
Yeah,
I think that's the only one that's still open locally. But they are also known for their hot dog eating contests. They have those.
Joey Chestnut, Jaws baby, eating 73, 71 hot dogs or something like that every July 4th. I always love watching it.
And those are Nathan's hot dogs. In case you're wondering, in case you ever see those stories, those are Nathan's hot dogs.
But that deal, Derek, $450 million in cash, by Smithfield to buy Nathan's outright.
Yeah, apparently Nathan's itself has had some economic issues here and there, and so that's prompted part of the reason for the sale. But Smithfield's basically buying them outright. It's all cash deal, and it's basically. I'm feeling it's going to be one of those that just
20% increase in the pound in the average cost per pound of hot dogs is one of the things that I figured into it. By the way, Nathan who? Nathan Handworker, by the way, started on Coney Island back in 1916. There's a good trivia question for you. Nathan Handworker.
That's the last name if there ever was one. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's see. Netflix. We mentioned that there is a redesign that's going to be happening. We mentioned this before the break. You might remember like a few months back that there was like another redesign as it is anyway, because then it made it a little bit more, shall we say, it looked like it was a little more friendly for Apple TV, basically from the way the setup was. I have a Roku, and so it's like it made it a little bit more look like that. Well, there's another redesign coming, but this one is actually going to be set up for mobile devices and more specifically for vertical video. They actually want to go after the vertical video market. Netflix does. Make it a little, not kind of go after TikTok, but they're actually saying, at least at this point right now, Instagram is more of their main competitor. Yeah, they see that as more of a competitor than TikTok right now.
Yeah, and it's the evolution of this whole digital world and how you consume your entertainment, your news, and Netflix. They're redesigning their mobile app right now, changing their priorities for the streaming giant. And so you can expect to see a lot of the other apps shift toward this TikTok style because of this vertical video type of thing. Because as we've seen, as we all know, TikTok is tremendously wildly popular, but that's how a lot of people want to kind of base their stuff on.
As a heavy TikTok user, Brian.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Derek.
Yes, chime in.
I don't know if anyone else is watching. If they're a big TikTok user, there's so many people who chop up these TV shows and movies, and they will post them in kind of like a sequential order on TikTok. So you can kind of watch your own show or watch whatever you want, kind of just on
Well,
TikTok.
that's how I've been staying up on some of my shows. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I'm a sucker born every minute.
I have one word for you: Quibi.
Quibi, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did it first, and it didn't necessarily do all that well. I think Roku actually bought the rights to whatever they had up there.
Very pricey buyout.
Yes, but Quibi was basically doing these vertical enhanced video drama type of things, and it was basically putting it out to 10-minute portions and everything like that. But this is, I think they're going after like, hey, maybe it can be this longer form vertical video type of thing that people watch because I mean honestly, most of these days. Meeting people, it goes to the whole thing of meeting people where they are, and where are people watching stuff these days? Less on their TVs, more on their phones.
True. I mean, I didn't even watch Landman the first season, and then I got to watching those little videos on the thing, just by stupid scrolling, and that's how I got hooked on Landman.
That's how I watched it.
Yep.
Yeah, and you might remember Netflix. They recently made a launch towards podcasts as well, and video podcasts. They're going to be doing that as well. So they're kind of trying to become more of a as what we like to call here in the business, a multi-platform service.
Oh, very nice.
So basically, it's more than just video. It's more than just movies and TVs. It's going to be doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So there's.
Hey, let's talk about the weather again. Let's bring that back in. Is that what we're on to now?
Yes. And this is actually not here. But we should mention not here in the United States. This is actually in Russia. Deadly snowstorm there. But what got me from reading into this? Yes, this has kind of been a thing there. But there have been a bigger issue in Russia because of some of the videos as to whether or not they're actually real. Because the bigger issue has been AI-generated snowdrift video that they've had in there, and people have actually been going after. There's been some controversy in Russia because some of the people are actually creating these AI videos of these snowdrifts that don't actually exist. However, this one we should mention. The video you see here is real.
Yeah, but that goes to show you the emergence of AI. But I remember a speech that Putin gave back in 2018, and his number one priority says he's going to invest in AI. And Russia. Happens to be from Russia, but you can see certainly the very believable looking videos that you're watching. You just don't know sometimes what you are getting, especially if you are stupid scrolling like myself quite a bit. Sometimes you look at those, and we're discerning news people. We really kind of know what's what when we look at certain stuff. And now it's becoming a much more of a gray area.
And we should mention, at least with this video, I mean, there are published reports that the snow there has completely buried the area, that people have died in there, and so the AI video is not necessarily making light of that, but they are taking advantage of that. Something you have to keep in mind.
But certainly in that part of the world, they do get a lot of snow.
Yes,
certainly.
Far East Russia, so it's basically near Alaska.
And that's the question: are we going to get
Yes.
snow here in Charlotte?
That snow
Brandon.
there is what people's default weather apps thought we were going to get here.
Right?
Earlier this week. I mean, I'm actually, my phone's still blowing up here just during the show. Just all the texts from family and friends from the default weather apps that are putting out these 10 to 20 inch snowfall totals. People are going to be disappointed. Ryan, Derek, we were just talking about it. We've seen this story many times.
It adjusts.
I'm telling you, I'm thinking the snow totals continue to plummet and the ice totals continue to go up. I mean, we could be possibly looking, guys, at a crippling ice storm this weekend, and that is no fun. That is not a fun winter weather event. That doesn't allow us to play in the snow. Doesn't allow you to drive at all either. So definitely looking at some very
ice
treacherous
is worse
conditions.
than a snowstorm in a lot of ways.
Absolutely worse. You start talking about the power outage potential going up, Brian, and then you also have to think about the tree limbs, the weight of the ice on the trees, and even the concern for maybe prolonged icy conditions in the early next week. So that's something we're watching. This is the latest model trends. I drew this map up earlier this morning, and this is what the trends have been showing for today, showing mostly an icy mix right there towards the I-40 corridor and point south of that. This would include Charlotte. This includes Rock Hill, Fort Mill, Chester, Rockingham, Lancaster, just those areas. That includes the areas that will be seeing more of a wintry mix versus more snow. Now, as you're getting further north of I-40 up into the mountains, you definitely have a higher snow potential there. But again, this is looking like more of an icy mix for the region versus a snowfall event. So please, please, please get ready for this storm now. This is going to be very significant over the area. Now, I do want to point out, it has been 1,460 days since we've seen 1 or more inches of snow in Charlotte. And I'm not quite sure we're going to break that streak as we go through the weekend. That's just how low snow totals could be with this event for the winter storms that go into the weekend. So what we do know We do know this will be a significant winter storm regardless of what falls. Timing of it looking to be during the first half of the day on Saturday, continuing through Saturday evening, Saturday night, and also through the day on Sunday, with likely tailing off conditions by Sunday night. Trending towards more of a sleet and ice storm, as we were just talking about. Less snow, more ice, and the exact timing of the precipitation types. That's what headlines what we don't know. We don't know exactly when you're going to see that transition from snow to a wintry mix, when exactly this is going to begin time-wise, and how much snow and ice we could be seeing. But when we get that better picture of that, we'll give you a better idea of those direct impacts we could be seeing across the area. So here's our storm system, guys. Again, this is the American model, latest run, has it moving in. First half of the day on Saturday, starting as snow around the I-85 corridor, but south of I-85, more of a wintry mix. And then as we go into Saturday night and Sunday morning, that's when most of the region, besides maybe the mountains, transitions over to just a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain. And that just continues through the day on Sunday with maybe some breaks here and there. But then as we go into Sunday evening, it all picks back up again. So here's our in-house model, different model here, but similar solution. The only thing it does differently is it brings more of the wintry mix further north when the event starts. And then as we go into Saturday night and Sunday morning, notice we still have that wintry mix around. So again, folks, this is trending towards more of an icy mix and more of a freezing rain event versus a snow event. So here's a look at your precipitation chances. Pinpoint weather alert in effect for Saturday and Sunday. Has 90% chance of precipitation for Saturday and Sunday. Likely going to be 100% by the time we get to it. Temperatures, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Notice 20s and 30s for highs. Low temperatures going to be in the teens, possibly single-digit morning lows, even here in Charlotte Tuesday morning. So that's the other big concern. We've got Arctic air that's going to be in place right after this event. So that means it could linger these impacts, including melting and also some of the recovery process as well. We've got two cold fronts to the west. As those move through, that's going to set the stage for the Arctic air. Let me get one last look at your 7-day forecast here. Again, we're tracking that winter storm for the weekend. A few showers Thursday and Friday, but then pinpoint weather alert day as we go into Saturday and
And I
Sunday.
still can't believe the fact that we could be seeing a 12 temperature.
Yeah.
I think the National Weather Service was also saying like 9 at one point here in Charlotte.
Well, I was going to say, I'm kind of conservative.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be single digits.
Yeah, it is.
And that obviously freezes all that water that you would have.
Yeah.
But not only the roads, but it's on the trees and brings down the power lines, and that's the huge concern.
And it's
And
also
also
important
the
to-
salt is not as effective when it's that cold.
And
too.
one thing I've been reminded of where I live now is like the importance of leaving your water just a little bit.
Yeah, drip the water.
Drip the water so it doesn't freeze, because when it freezes,
Yeah.
it's still because my water froze actually while back in 21 degrees.
One thing too, disconnect your garden hose and clear out your gutters, because with freezing rain you can get ice jams in there.
Next update, what you get from the National Weather Service? When's that, Brandon?
They'll
5
likely
o'clock?
be later this afternoon. We've got a webinar at 4 o'clock with them, giving us an idea of what they're looking at here in the next few days.
That will do it for us here on Queen City News Plus Live. We will see you back here tomorrow.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.